The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, South Lane County Fire and Rescue, Oregon, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 38445. Please utilize this 5-digit job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. Let's get started on a brief orientation. Starting first, just underneath the front bumper, you'll find a passenger and driver side spray. Just inside of the center cutout area, you'll find 2 open-ended tow hooks on the passenger and driver side. Located directly in the center is the electronic siren and PA speaker. Moving now to the outer edge of the cab is where you'll find your marker, turn indicator light, headlight structure, low and high beam. Also located inside the grille area, you'll find 2 forward-facing emergency warning lights, and on the outer edge of the fender, your air horn. Moving to the outer edge of the A-pillar, you'll find your mirror housing a flat mirror at the top and a convex mirror in the lower portion. As we move to the brow of the apparatus, in the very center, you'll find a forward-facing floodlight, identification clearance lights, and up onto the cab roof, you'll find your emergency warning light bar. Let's go ahead and take a close-up of a few of those items we just talked about. First, starting with the front spray located under the front bumper. Moving toward the cutout section where you'll find your open-ended tow hooks, and then electronic siren PA speaker. As we move to the grille area, you'll find your emergency warning lights forward-facing, and to the headlight structure where you'll find a turn indicator on the outer edge, headlight structure housing low and high beam headlights. As we move to the upper portion of the brow area, this is that forward-facing floodlight. And as we move on to the top of the fender, you'll find your air horn. On the driver's side, you'll find an air inlet. And then also on the top of the fender, you'll find a turn indicator marker light. Let's go ahead and take a look at some close-ups of those items. First, starting with the turn indicator, and then also the headlight structure. In the very front, you'll find an emergency warning light just to the rear of the headlight. Michelin tires, Alcoa wheel, and then to the rear of the cab area hood is where you'll find the release mechanism, both passenger and driver's side. Let's go ahead and take a look at the cab section now. We'll start first with the entry point into the driver's seat. These are your cab steps. Just underneath the cab step is where you'll find a perimeter light and then additional step lights in the second step up. Also, you'll find the silver cap, which is your ultra low sulfur diesel fill location. Right next to that is the DEF fill location, which is the blue cap. Easily accessible with a gloved hand. These are the door latches. They are keyed, and right next to that is where you'll find a grab handle for gaining entry in and out of the cab and maintaining 3 points of entry. On the A-pillar area is where you'll find the convex mirror in the lower portion and then a flat mirror on the upper portion of the arm. Let's go ahead and take a look at some close-ups of the items we first talked about, starting with the step area. Just underneath the first step is where you'll find your perimeter light illuminating the ground for stepping surface. As we move up from this location to the second step, we have cab lights that will illuminate this step, and then also the location for our battery box. Ultra low sulfur diesel will be the silver cap, which is the aluminum tank, and then just to the right of that location, next to the ultra low sulfur diesel fuel only, is where your DEF tank is located. It will be the blue cap. Let's move up now to the forward portion of the door where you'll find your mirror housing a flat and convex mirror. As we move to the rear of the door, you'll find your door lock and latch, and then right next to that, the grab handle. As we move to the door panel, you'll find affixed to the door panel safety and warning placard information. You'll also find the door lock latch, and at the very top section is the actual lock. As we move forward of this location, on the top side is where you'll find your mirror control and window control.
Let's go ahead and move inside the cab area next. We'll start at the base of the seat where you'll find this yellow placard, manufactured for your department, indicating the date of manufacture, 5-digit job number, gross vehicle weight rating, and cold tire inflation. This also has the VIN number and all of the fluid type, and the amount of fluids for your vehicle. As we move to the floor area, you'll find the master battery switch, quarter turn for on and off. Seat controls is an air ride. There is adjustments on the outer edge along with a forward front to back lever for moving the seat. As we move to the dash area next, you'll find your ignition is keyed. And as we move up to the dash area, you'll find a yellow placard, which we'll go over in just a few moments. And then also all of your switches on the left-hand side for your headlight and cruise control. Let's go ahead and take a look at some close-ups. First, this is the keyed ignition. And then we'll cover that yellow placard indicating the height of the vehicle, 9 feet 4 inches, length 30 feet 1 inch, gross vehicle weight rating 54,600 pounds. Also housing the 5-digit job number 38445. TR-01. Let's move to the switches on the left where you'll find the speed control, set excel, headlights, and also increase or decrease for your cruise control. Those are all of the components on the left side of the dash area. Let's go ahead and move from this location to the dash console, where you'll find in the very front left-hand side is the transmission temperature. Moving up from that location, water and oil. On the right side, you'll find front and rear air, fuel, and DEF. In the center is the tachometer and speedometer. Left will be the tach, right will be the speedometer. As we move up, you'll find tally information and also a display screen just above this location. In the center, this will display digitally information regarding your vehicle. On the outer edges is where you'll find the tally light information. Just to the right of the dash area is where you'll find the air filter minder indicating your filter status, and then also a normal spin automatic traction control switch. Below that is the Allison transmission pad digital readout push button. Let's move just to the right. We'll identify a few items, and then I have some close-ups here. On the left we have a pump engaged, OK to pump, and also OK to pump and roll. You'll also find a tank rack down indicator indicating that the rack is in the downward position. To the right is the pull to apply your system parking brake and push to release. These are the rear spring brakes. Also some switches here for PTO for the pump, and then also some information on a display screen located on the right hand side. I've got some additional close-ups here that will help in this, and additional tally lights on the very far right. As we move to the lower switches, you'll find your regen switch. Moving to the right hand side is where you'll find your diff lock and engine brake. Also seatbelt information, red indicating someone is in the seat and not belted, green they're in the seat and belted. These are the tally lights we just previously mentioned, and then just to the right you'll find your PTO pump, high, idle, and alarm off. To the right you're going to find additional tally lights here for battery and OK to engage high idle. Air conditioning and climate control for heat, air, and defrost located in the top section. There are power outlets both on the left and right side of the dash area, window control for the driver and passenger, and then also mirror heat and your electric door locks. Also on the outer edge you'll find your cup holders. Let's look to the very forward section where you'll find your backup camera monitor. And then as we look slightly to the rear portion or in between the two seats, you'll find additional storage here for material and also map books, etc. Overhead in the driver's seat, we do have a switch panel which contains the emergency master, lower zone, rear scene, left scene, and right scene. Just to the right, you'll find the lanyard for your air horn, front scene, rear work light, rear dump, left front ground sweep, and then also the right front ground sweep. additional future switches to the right of that location. Siren control and PA system, this is the module for that. Moving now to the pump panel area, we'll start with the crosslays. There are 3 crosslays located here, crosslay 1 and 2, and then also a dead load to the rear. Let's go ahead and take a look at the pump panel. We'll start on the left with the pump discharge. This is your master gauge. Just below that is where you'll find the pump intake. This is the master gauge for that. Let's move just to the right where we have some switches located here. There is a panel light and then any future switches that may be needed. Moving down in the blue module, this is your water tank level indicator. Just below that are the vacuum and pressure test gauge ports. These are currently plugged and are utilized for testing purposes. Moving just to the right, you'll find the pump boss, which is your pressure throttle governor. Just below that, you'll find a black speaker that is an audible alarm. It does rotate from left to right, increase or decreasing the sound. Also to the right, you'll find a tally light indicating OK to pump. Also to the right is your pump test indicating pump pressures for 150, 200, and 250 psi. Some close-ups here of the pump panel light switches, also the pressure gauges and water tank level. To the right, you'll find your pump boss, which is the pressure throttle governor. And then to the right, you'll find your minimum operation maintenance schedule for 150, 200, and 250 psi pressures. Let's move down to the discharges, first starting with crosslay 1, number 1 driver's side discharge, and large diameter rear discharge in green. To the right is the tank fill and recirculating line. As we move down to the next set of discharges, you'll find crosslay number 2, and then also number 2 passenger side discharge, which is a 2.5-inch discharge. To the right is the engine cooler. That's a twist, not a pull. Let's take a look at some close-ups of those things we just talked about. First starting with crosslay 1 and driver 1 and the number 2 crosslay. And then moving to the right, you'll find the large diameter rear discharge, number 2 passenger side, and tank fill recirculating line. The vehicle is equipped with an air prime. It's a push button. There are instructions for best practices while priming at least 1,000 RPMs. To the right is where you'll find your tank to pump. Also, you'll find the main pump inlet located just below the Pierce logo, and some additional warning placards here regarding entanglement hazard. Because those lines coming from aloft, there's the possibility of entanglement. Also, pressure hazard. Caps may be under pressure when opening them. Please be cautious. Down to the bottom, the auxiliary inlet. This is a 2.5-inch female, locally controlled at the ball valve. This is your Watrous placard indicating the capacity of your pump, 1,000 GPM. Also, all of our color-coded and labeled discharge drains are across the very bottom section of the pump panel. Let's move just to the right where you'll find the shoreline inlet. It is a 20 amp auto eject. Moving further to the right is the main pump drain, and then just below that is the air inlet, which is also an air auto eject. As we move to the far right, you'll find a 2.5-inch discharge. Let's move to the body now, identify a few items. Just in front of the rear axle, you'll find wheel chock storage for 2 wheel chocks. Just in front of the rear axle, forward axle, you'll find your marker turn indicator light. Also a pan door here for additional SCBA bottle storage. And then to the rear of the axle, you'll find a lower zone emergency warning light. Moving up to the top forward section of the side sheet, you'll find an LED water tank level indicator, and then also 2 scene lights, one to the front and one to the rear. At the very rear, that light is a upper zone emergency warning light. We'll take some close-ups of those images next, first starting with your LED water tank level indicator. Then we'll go back down and take a look at the storage location for your wheel chocks. Marker turn indicator light. This is just in front of the rear axle, and then in between the 2 axles is where you'll find a pan door here. Lift and turn latch will gain you access into this space. 2 SCBA bottle storage location here with retaining straps. Emergency warning light, part of the lower zone. And then as we move to the rear roll-up compartment door, in this compartment you do have, in all compartments, LED lighting, and in this one an adjustable shelf. And at the very rear wall, mounted on that rear wall, is where you'll find your battery charger. When plugged into Shoreline power, this will be active. Mud flaps are located at the rear of the dual. Let's go ahead and move around to the rear of the apparatus next. Quick shot of the upper portion emergency warning light and also side-facing scene light. At the top of the diamond plate, you'll find emergency warning lights. This is part of your upper zone. Also some warning placards here indicating fall hazard, never ride on the vehicle while it's in motion. And then also fall hazard when climbing on or off the vehicle, always face the vehicle. Additional warning regarding entanglement hazard. Because of those lines coming from aloft, there is the possibility of entanglement. On the outer lower edges, a lift and turn latch will gain you access both passenger and driver side for your rigid drafting tubes. Also a rear scene light, hose bed lights, and rear dump. To the left and right side lower corner, you'll find at the very top of the cluster, emergency warning light, brake, turn, and reverse light. Moving now across the very rear portion of the apparatus, clearance lights and reflectors. Moving to the very top, you'll find rear-facing scene lights and also your backup camera. Direct tank fill, 2.5-inch locally controlled via the ball valve. Additional tow hooks are located at the rear, one on the passenger and one on the driver's side. Located in the center is the rear dump chute, and then also moving over to the passenger side is where you'll find an additional tank fill, 2.5-inch female, locally controlled via the ball valve. On the outer edge, you will find a warning placard here indicating warning, keep clear of the area when raising or lowering the portable tank system to prevent striking injuries. Just up from this location on the rear portion of the apparatus, you'll find an LED water tank level indicator. As we move to the right, same configuration. This is a lift and turn latch which will gain you access into your storage location for your drafting tubes. Let's move around and identify some of the compartments on the passenger side. Same configuration and layout. We do have a porta-tank located on this side. Starting at the very top section, emergency warning lights and sign-facing scene lights. Moving now to the rear roll-up compartment door. In between the two rear axles, where you'll find a lift and turn latch, will gain you access into this pan door area for bottle storage, for 2 SCBA bottle storage. I would like to point out extremely hot diesel exhaust temperatures do exist, especially during regen operation. Be cautious where you choose to park your vehicle. Moving forward to this location, you'll find an additional compartment roll-up door. Inside this compartment, you'll find an adjustable shelf, ventilation, and LED lighting. Moving back up to the very top portion of the side sheet, it's where you'll find the side-facing floodlight and also LED water tank level indicator. Moving now to the pump panel area on the passenger side, we'll start with the crosslays. Same configuration on the drivers we have on the passenger side. There are 2 plumbed crosslays and a dead load. Also, you'll find a lift and turn latch will gain you access behind the pump panel on the passenger side for access and visual inspection. Moving to the left, a couple of warning placards here. First, warning entanglement hazard. Because the line's from aloft, there's the possibility of entanglement. Also, warning regarding pressure hazard. Caps may be under pressure. Be cautious when opening them. You'll also find the large diameter passenger side discharge located on this side also. As we move forward to this location on the pump panel, you'll find your powered equipment rack module. There is a danger placard here and also information for raising and also lowering the powered equipment rack. Let's move now to the pump panel itself, starting on the left-hand side with a 2.5-inch discharge. This is the number 2 passenger side discharge, and then also large diameter pump inlet on the passenger side. All of our color-coded and labeled discharge drains are located here, along with a warning placard indicating only trained personnel should operate this piece of equipment, and that's only after you received proper training. Let's move back to the cab now on the officer side. General view. We'll move inside the cab area next, starting first with your mirror, flat and convex mirror. Lower portion is the convex. As we move into the door panel area, fixed door panel, safety and warning placard information. Down the lower portion, a grab handle, door lock and latch, and then at the very top section is your door window control. As we move in, you'll find a grab handle on the lower left-hand side. Gaining access into this, this is a fixed seat in this location with a grab handle on the A pillar. As we move overhead into this space, you'll find additional storage over the officer seat, and then moving toward the left, you'll find your control module for your electronic siren and PA speaker. On the exterior, you'll find steps, step lights underneath each step, and also under the cab light. On the fender, you'll find your marker turn indicator light and your air horn. As we move forward to this location, you'll find an emergency warning light just behind the headlight structure area. To the rear of the fender is where you'll find the release mechanism for gaining access into the hooded area. This is the emergency warning light, part of the lower zone, directly to the rear of the headlight structure. Headlights housing low and high beam and a marker turn indicator. As we move now down to the front axle, Alcoa wheel and Michelin tire. Back to the very front bumper area, just underneath, this is the bumper spray on the right-hand side. And then just a general photo here of the apparatus. Congratulations, South Lane County Fire and Rescue, on your new Pierce Fire apparatus, job number 38445. If you have any questions regarding your vehicle, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Thank you and congratulations.